Well, we are really delighted this morning. This ASB convocation is to honor Martin Luther King, and we have a person with us today who couldn't be better suited to help us understand better the life of Martin Luther King and some of the things that went on historically during the time that he was alive. Dr. Ramona Hyman is here. She is an essayist. She is a speaker. She is an actor. She is a native of Philadelphia. But she has done a lot of her work in the Deep South. A lot of what she does is grounded in African American cultural and religious sensibility. The deeply rooted in the African American civil rights tradition, Hyman uses historical gems and lessons from the Montgomery Bus Boycott of 1955 in a contemporary content to motivate, inspire, and teach. She earned her BA from Temple University, her MA from Andrews University, and her PhD from the University of Alabama. She has served as a professor of English at Oakwood University, Alabama A&M, Loma Linda University, and she has also served as a speaker for the Alabama Humanities Foundation and a poet-in-resident for the Alabama State Council on the Arts and the Huntsville Arts Council. I know you're going to enjoy what she has to say to us today. She told us a story last night that I couldn't stop thinking about as I went home, and I don't know what kind of story she's going to tell us today. But let's give Dr. Ramona Hyman a warm Union College welcome.
Good morning. Good morning. I came to tell you all simply that I like a whole lot of things. I especially like simply being nice. That's a success lesson for me. It's just good in every situation to be nice. I am also a lover of history. Now, I'm going to tell you all, there was a time that I was not interested in history. If someone would have come to me to talk about history or politics for that matter, I would be like tweeting. I hope this lady hurry up. But then something happened. You can tweet this. Something is always happening. Something is always happening. True story, true story. Someone put a word out, the Alabama Humanities Foundation, that they wanted some speakers. I wanted to know something about Rosa Parks, so I said, hey, I'm going to speak about Rosa Parks because I am sure that she was a rough, tough sister. Something is always happening. Tweet, you got to be ready for what's happening. A woman said to me, she said, look, Rosa Parks is going to be in Atlanta, Georgia. Why don't you come on and go with me? I said, okay. I'm sitting there. A woman walks in quietly. She sits down. Someone says to me, that's Rosa Parks. I walk over to her and I say, hi, Mrs. Parks. She was not, she was, how are you doing, dear? Tweet, it's just good to be nice. A gentleman stood up to introduce Mrs. Parks. His name was Joseph Lowry. Joseph Lowry said on that day that Rosa Parks, the mother of the civil rights movement, Rosa Parks, born February 4th, 1913, Rosa Parks is the essence and quintessence of African American womanhood. The essence and quintessence of African-American womanhood. Something in me wanted to be like that. I wanted to be the kernel, the core, the heart of the womanhood. Folks, you want to be the kernel, the core, the heart, ladies, of the womanhood. And I said to myself, how am I going to be like Rosa Parks? How am I? So I went to the library. Folks, you gotta read. Was the essence and quintessence of the womanhood, largely because of one day. To myself, because I was this shallow woman walking around the planet. I said, what was she crying for? I said, she knew the rules. What was she crying for? You ever been hit upside the head? Come on, folks, you ever been hit upside the head? Somebody's phone is saying yes. She was crying for the black African. You all know the black African. You seen the pictures? She was crying for the black African who was put on a slave ship, packed just like a stinking sardine. That's why she was crying. She was crying for the people in Montgomery, black and white. Her friend Virginia Durr, if she and Mrs. Durr got on the bus together, they couldn't even sit beside each other because Mrs. Durr was white and Rosa Parks was black. Segregation. And she was crying for me, and she was crying for you. Because, folks, if you ever find yourself in Montgomery, Alabama, and I hope that you do, you can sit in the front, the back, you could stand up. And because she cried, because she remained anchored in her seat, she was arrested on December the 1st, 1955. Well, you know what? Edie Nixon was the president of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People then. When they arrested Mrs. Parks, he said they arrested the right one now. You see, the people in Montgomery, they were tired of bus segregation, the black folks and the white folks. They were tired of being humiliated. So they decided, hey, we're going to have us a boycott. Make no mistake, Rosa Parks did not just happen on December the 1st, 1955. They had been talking about a boycott. Folks, I love English professors. I love them. I love English professors. Do you all know that in 1953, an English professor, did I tell y'all that I'm an English professor? In 1953, an English professor by the name of Joanne Robinson, she wrote a letter to the mayor saying that if they didn't get this bus situation straightened out, that they were going to have a boycott. Joanne Robinson wrote that in 1953. On December the 1st, 1955, the folks in Montgomery were tired. Folks tweet, it is okay to be tired. They were tired. Edie Nixon said they arrested the right one now. He went down to the police station to try to make bail for Rosa Parks. They wouldn't give him any information because he was my color. He called on longtime civil rights activists, white, Clifford and Virginia Durr. Clifford Durr was a lawyer. Clifford and Virginia Durr and Edie Nixon, they went down and they made bail for Mrs. Parks. Tweet, sometimes we got to work together. They made bail for Mrs. Parks, and they came out of that place and they said, we're going to have us a boycott. Well, actually, legend has it that the women decided that they were going to have a boycott. So Joanne Robinson, I love me some English teachers, she drafted a leaflet. And the leaflet said another, that lets you know that someone else was arrested before Rosa Parks. Are you all with me? Another Negro woman has been arrested. Don't ride the bus on Monday, December the 5th, 1955. And then they had this big old meeting at the Holt Street Baptist Church in Montgomery, Alabama. A big meeting. The people came in, they said some people were standing outside. Mark my word, folks. The Montgomery Bus Boycott was a Christian boycott. Some have said that the civil rights movement was simply, they had that first big meeting at the Holt Street Baptist Church. Folks, tweet, there is something every day of the week. They had that first meeting at the Holt Street Baptist Church, was at home. And by that time, they had asked King to be the leader. They started an organization called the Montgomery Improvement Association. Get this, people. King had just moved to Montgomery, Alabama. He had just become the pastor of the Dexter Avenue Church. The Dexter Avenue Church, folks, is right across the street from the state capitol where Jefferson Davis stands. You with me? Sometime your destiny. You with me? 26 years old. King said that when they called him and he understood that he would be speaking at the Holt Street Baptist Church that evening, Read Stride Towards Freedom, he says that it took him 20 minutes to prepare a sermon that would change the course of history. King showed up at that Holt Street Baptist Church. Rosa Parks was sitting there, and King said, he didn't say an activist has been arrested. Christian woman, read the text, has been arrested. And then at the end of his sermon, he said, the folks, read the text, with fleecy locks and dark complexions would shape the course of history. He said, the folk with fleecy locks and dark complexions would inject new meaning unto the veins of the course of history. And then they took a vote. That boycott was to God. The boycott was supposed to last 381 days. So they took a vote, and it was unanimous that they would continue to walk. That thing got so good, that they had some carpools. The carpools were so successful that the city commissioner, Mr. Sellers, said that anybody charging less than the 45-cent fare, okay, they were going to be arrested. Really, Mr. Sellers? Really, Mr. Sellers? You're going to arrest King, a man called by God? You know you got you mess with those people who are called by God. Are you kidding me? They kept on walking. And sometime it was in the rain. And they carpooled. They lost some 30 to 40,000 fares a day. All the business people out there, tweet this. The Montgomery Bus Boycott was an economic boycott. Ha! They lost a whole lot of money. But those people, they were some nice people. To be nice. They said, don't end bus segregation from the front to the back, hire a couple more black bus drivers, and then seat the black folk from the back to the front. Could have been my friend. And people like Reverend Gatz, who wrote the White Preacher's Memoir, and his wife. And people like young Martin Luther King Jr. and Coretta Scott King. And people like humanity. The United States Supreme Court said that if we wanted to get on the bus together, that we deserve. We had a right based on the 14th Amendment of the Constitution. That we had a right to sit together, y'all. That's my story. 381 days. Last tweet. Sometimes 381 days, the course of history. That's all I got to say. And with that, folks, I just want to say, amen.